This episode of Inside Running Podcast is proudly brought to you by Brooks Running. Since 1914, they've been creating innovative gear designed to inspire everyone to move and be active. Brooks believe every run takes us to a better place, be it a feeling, a destination, or a finish line, so let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com.au to find out more.
Welcome to episode number 352 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big show coming at you, boys. The Olympics are finally here. We've got some Sydney Harbour 10K results to read through, some British Milers Club results, some big news regarding Andy Buchanan and Brett Robinson, a listener question, some whispers, some moose on the loose, and some details about our live show, which is coming up daily. First show on Friday, covering all the stuff track related at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Welcome, my co-host is up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. How are you?
Good, thanks, Brady. Excited the Olympics have started. I quite enjoy watching a few different sports. Watched a bit of the skateboarding last night and a bit of the diving.
Oh yeah, do you get into everything?
I try and watch a little. Like I watch bits and pieces, and then the next day try and get a bit of a like, for example, last night the skateboarding was on, and so I saw that the Aussie girl made it through to like the final, but I wasn't staying up till like 2 a.m. to watch it. So then I, the next morning find out how she went, which not great.
You watched the surfing today?
Well,
a little bit, yeah.
The surfing is closer to Australia than France.
No, they're at Chopu in Tahiti.
Yeah, so is that closer to Australia than France?
Yeah, it is. But it's so environment dependent, surfing. So even I watched a heat where they went like 10 minutes, not a single wave come through. So then they restart the heat again, a 30-minute heat. So then they went like 20 minutes without a single wave being ridden, maybe longer. And the commentators, those poor fuckers, they are having to pad that out. Just no action whatsoever. Just two people sitting in the water with no waves coming in for like half an hour.
It must be tough for those athletes as well, being so far away from the Olympics. It must feel just like a normal surfing comp on the circuit for them.
Mm. Yeah, I reckon it would feel like Sapporo for the marathoners the last Olympics. Kind of removed from it all. Yeah.
It's there's a bit of calm before the storm though, isn't it? Before the athletics kicks off. Like I'm still feeling like, especially in the marathon, like it was 2 weeks yesterday. They're not even tapering yet, those guys.
For us it is, but for the punter, everything's like not everyone wants to watch the track.
Oh, my neighbours were telling me about the swimming stuff today. They're like, you've got to watch is it Titmus?
Titmus, yeah.
Yeah. Get on at 7:05 p.m. or whatever and like watch this. And I'm just like, okay, yep, cool. But because I don't want to say something controversial about swimming.
Speaking of the track and field though, have you guys watched that sprint documentary on Netflix?
No, but Carly's friends have. And they reckon it's good.
Yeah, I watched it. And it's funny how like I don't get into the sprints at all, but hearing like the background stories to all of those runners, you can see how it's easy to then get invested in the actual sprints just by hearing the athletes' backstories. So I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's not made for track and field fans, is it? It's like I got into the Drive to Survive, the Formula One show, and now like I'm sucked into that world. I don't watch any races, but I love watching every season that comes out of that and kind of pay attention to the results and stuff when they happen. But that's it's trying to hit this new audience, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm more of a fan of sprints. Like I'm a track and field fan, but like I've never really been interested in the sprints. But after watching that series, I'm like, oh, okay, I know who those athletes are now, or know their backstories, which makes me more interested in it.
Yep. All right, let's get to some training weeks. I should mention as well, we're recording this live tonight for a bit of a test for our daily show. So there are some Patreon supporters watching us as we're talking here. Maybe an opportunity a bit later on to contribute or listen to question. Been testing that technology out with Zaka all morning, and it looks good, but we'll see what happens when we get running news finished. So if we do sound a bit different, because we're using different software. Moose, do you want to go first? Big week. Started marathon training, Krogs. He's up and about.
He's excited, isn't he?
This head-to-head in 11 weeks. I'm shattered. I'm going to be in Chicago. I want to be on course in Melbourne watching it.
How many weeks, though, until my knee's a bit sore?
There's only one bloke with an entry at the moment, and it ain't me.
Well, you haven't got one yet?
Not yet.
I
thought I would just get a couple of weeks of training under the belt first because of how vulnerable I am to the sniper. But I did have a week of normal training with a longer tempo on Sunday as a long run. Woke up real sore on Monday. So just 2 jogs. I actually drove down the hill, jogged around the river for half an hour on Monday morning. And then in the afternoon, we had the ASICS wear test event in Geelong from the running company Geelong. So got out for half an hour. Didn't quite get me to 6K, unfortunately. Should have kept running. Only 5.73. Although the rule, I've always had this rule where it's not worth running if you're not running longer than 25 minutes. And that's not coming back from injury where you run walking and stuff. That's the amount of time of a run that makes it worth to have to wash those clothes that you're wearing. And I just got there at 30 minutes. It's not really distance related. I think we can use time as the example. So 30 minutes, not too bad. Did an hour the next morning, got on to
Hang on, before you move on, because I think that's a special rule. What about if you got a race in the evening and you do like an easy 20 minutes in the morning? That counts?
Yeah, that's probably a pass on that one.
The only time you can go under 25 minutes.
If you're going out for a double and you're running 15 minutes, I don't think it's worth it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like double, I think a double has to be at 25 minutes. That's got to be the limit there.
Yeah.
You know, surely.
Unless it's for your mental health. Like you've had a rough day at work. You just want to clear the head for 15 minutes. Just tick the legs over.
Then you might as well go out for 25.
Okay.
What are the rules for these streak runners, though? I know somebody that his rule is 20 minutes and has to cover at least 3 kilometres in that 20 minutes.
Is that Sean Crichton?
Correct.
That's not my rule. I have my rules. Streak runners can have their rules. I'm not sure if there's an official streak runner rule book. I'm sure there is.
I reckon there actually is.
Yeah.
I might try and find it during the show.
Yeah, you can do that as part of your research, but that's not going to ever form part of my rule book. We all have our own rules. Brad, that's the one I follow, is 25 minutes minimum. I did run an hour on the Tuesday, and then I did an afternoon run. So I got on the treadie for nearly 30, here 28 minutes. Luckily, I got over 25. I don't want to have to eat my words in my first week. Then I did an hour the next day. I pushed my workout back till Thursday because of Bandura, and I did 6 by 6 minutes on the treadmill. And the heart rate never really got to threshold in this one. Again, I'm having a bit of trouble getting it up there. I just can't. I can't run hard enough on this treadmill. I can't run fast enough. But I'm not really pushing myself either. Like when I get to the point where it feels like a smooth rhythm, I don't increase the pace to get my heart rate up intentionally. So I'm using this as, we'll call this sub-threshold stuff. What I really should do is get the lactate meter out and take some measurements throughout, perhaps the third and the last one, just to see exactly where I'm at that heart rate. I just don't really care enough to do that right now. I don't think it matters that much to me. I just need to do one semi-intense session during the week. And that was a horrid day of weather, so the treadmill worked very convenient. Did just 50 the next morning, met up with Kieran, went for a run around Anglesey, and then with Crammers the next morning, an hour. We ran trails this morning and ran a bit too early, although it was like 7:30 meet with Crammers. The sun, like the weather's been so shit, the sun wasn't quite bright enough, and the footage, like the lighting was no good on the trails, and I rolled my ankle probably 3 times the first 15 minutes, and I thought, oh, this is not worth it. I also, my ankles tend to take a while to warm up through a run, so I probably need to do a flat, easy loop until the sun comes a bit higher, and then also my ankles warm up. But we had a pretty good run. Told him off for sledging during the race. Did I tell you about that last week?
What, he was sledging or someone sledged him?
Sledged me during the race last week. In the middle
What did
of the
he
race.
say? These Geelong boys hate each other, Croaks.
Real dumbass move from him.
Hate each other.
He looked at me at about 4K mark and goes, oh, you're breathing a bit heavy, mate. You're breathing a bit heavy. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm on your team, you idiot. If you're going to say that shit, say it to another team.
And that's why you guys are in the bottom half.
Oh, we had a good day. We came 4th. But like a K later, the bloke's dropped off the back. I hit him up about it, and he goes, oh, I thought that you were sledging me about the slabs that were on the line. But someone else was within the group. Someone else said something, like made a comment, and he thought it was me. And so that's why he sledged me multiple times throughout
back
the first like 5K that we were together. Yeah, it's a bit weird getting sledged while you're in the middle of a race. Happened to me once before, actually, from the sideline. It was in America. It was a 10K race. I was coming dead last, and the base, like they pretty much had a race ready to start. They were just waiting for me to finish. That's how fucking slow I was going. And someone yelled from the side about 100 meters to go, oh, you've got another lap, mate. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I was so gone from it that I didn't realize, I didn't know if he was telling the truth or not. And he fully got in my head, because as soon as I finished, it didn't really matter if I had another lap or not. I was stopping. So I finished. I got over the line, pulled off, and they basically said, on your marks, bang. The next race started. But that was a good sledge from that bloke. He really hit me.
And you've held on to it as well.
I've remembered it, yeah. I ran that evening just around the Anglesey. I've got these old Nike tights on in this picture. I'm not sure if you can see them. You boys ever have a pair of these ones?
No, not those ones.
Oh, they were the cream of the crop. 2016, I reckon. These just ultimate tight. Very strong compression. They did a half tight like this, like real, see where the grid pattern is? Quite strong in its compression. And then it opens up through the calf a bit. Nike made the best running apparel like 10 years ago, 10 years ago. It was so good. I feel like they're not quite there anymore with their running apparel. But
even Pro Kit. Like they used to nail the Pro Kit, whereas now like On's pretty good. Adidas is really good. Like I feel like they've caught up as well.
Yeah, the race kit was good. Yeah. But then you would also get like a quarter zip, and it was just the best quarter zip you've ever worn from Nike back in the day. And I've still got them, and I still hunt through the wardrobe for them rather than a lot of the product now that's on the market. I still go back to stuff that's 8 years old because of how good it is. Just the cuts seem to be a lot better. Maybe they're getting, like the cuts were built well for me. And I was like, I'm not a super thin guy or anything, but I feel like a lot of the stuff now is quite loose. So maybe they're just making their running gear a little more democratic in the fit. And it's just a little baggy and sloppy on me. That could be what's happening.
Democratic. I haven't heard that word since you and Zach did those Moose in Paris episodes.
Oh, I use it a lot now. Yeah. I use it a lot. It's an industry word now.
Okay.
It's ingrained in me. The workout I did, it was actually Matt Gunther's workout. He's doing Melbourne. We only finished 2 seconds apart at Bundoora, so I thought I might jump into this one with Matt. It's giving me something to get keen for with running, keeps me more engaged. I certainly wasn't ready for this fitness-wise. I hadn't had enough long runs in. I hadn't done any longer tempos, any longer workouts. But I thought, fuck it. This is what I'm enjoying in my running right now. So let's do it. I don't really have much to lose either. So we did a long tempo. It was a 26K. We did out Paraprat. Weather pretty average, 6 degrees, feels like 2. Bit of wind, bit of hail, bit of rain. Not ideal conditions. I didn't feel like it was like super bad, just wasn't ideal. We ran with we actually ran with Crammers. He jumped in for 3x15. Okay, boys, I'm going to throw this one to you. Thinking off the cuff. Crammers was given 3x15 minutes as a workout, like a marathon pace workout. What sort of rest do you reckon you'd put between 3x15 minutes at marathon pace?
2 minutes jog, 500 jog.
Croaks?
Maybe a K float.
2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Crammers coached by Josh Harris. He had 7.5 minutes jog. Bloke was making cups of teas on the side of the road while we waiting for us to come back and get him. 7.5 minutes jog. Yeah. He was.
Did he explain why? Because Josh Harris is a smart man, and I'm defending a run to PB coach here. Like he would have an explanation for that.
We didn't realize until we were midway through the workout, and we were like, "How are we going to make this work?" 7.5 minutes. He basically ran the same pace we were, just a few steps behind us the whole way. He wasn't resting at all. I don't know. I got into him. Crammers also defended him.
Did Crammers read the workout correctly?
I don't know.
His plan. I'm gonna log into his account now and see if I can see any details about that workout.
It seemed right. Seemed like a little excessive. The rest. Gunther said,
Josh Harris known for flogging himself in training as well.
Yeah, there's no way he's having 7.5 minutes recovery.
No way
between
he
those
in his life as he had that. Is this a cycling thing you reckon that he might be getting into? Like, you reckon he rides bikes? This is a thing in cycling?
Well, unless he wanted to build like endurance, like make the session longer. Because it probably adds 2 or 3K. Yeah, but it's not, yeah.
Regardless, we had to work it out around that. So Matt and I, we ran ahead, and then we turned around after like 6 minutes, and Crammers is pretty much 50 meters behind us. So we half turned around and got him, and then kept going. So we did that a few times. I was going pretty. I just didn't feel hard at any point. However, my heart rate did get up towards the end. Probably from about the 20K mark, we went over a decent hill. Well, not really a decent hill, actually. That's a lie. The hill was at about the 14K mark. We went over the hill, and then we had a long downhill where things were pretty cruisy for a bit. And then we turned into a headwind and a bit more of an uphill, and my heart rate got up, and it didn't really come down after that. So the last probably 4K, I was working a lot harder than what Matt was working. But it didn't feel hard. I just knew that I was working outside the area that I should have been. I think if I didn't have a heart rate on, I probably wouldn't have thought it was that high. And I'm sort of glad it really only got to that high late in the workout, because if it had have got this high early on, then I would have dropped off, or I would have stopped early, because there's no way I want to spend like an hour just touching threshold every kilometer, because that would be a problem, and I wouldn't really get out what I need from it. But I think if you get to the end of these workouts, you can do a bit of threshold stuff towards the end of them. So it was 26K. We averaged 3:31, 128 meters. There's a few little lumps in there, lumps and bumps, but nothing too bad. And then cooled down 2K. So 32K for the day, 117 for the week. Ballarat this week, so I'm not going to do a proper, like a long run. I'm just going to run the race and maybe 5K either side.
So it's still a good morning out, 25K worth of work.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. I mean, it's a longer tempo. So it's pretty draining, like mentally. Doing it with someone else was quite nice, but I'm doing it with someone who's in a much more comfortable fitness level than I am for that. Matt trained for Great Ocean Road Marathon in May, didn't get to the start line because he got COVID. And so kind of rolled into, like, he's got a monster amount of foundation behind him. And then like I don't have any of that. So I can really notice that on these runs.
Yeah, which is why when I saw it pop up on my Strava on Sunday, I'm like, oh, Moose he's getting into things quick.
Yeah, probably not ideal, but it works for the group. It works for me. It's going to disappear for a few weeks now because I got Ballarat. Then Matt's going away, so I get to do things smart again. And then maybe we'll join him in 3 weeks for another one.
Yeah, but you kind of said it. You're like, it's what I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to keep me engaged. Like, I need to be fit enough to run with him in these workouts. And if I'm not training during the week, then I won't be able to. So I do need to keep fit for that. Otherwise, I'm going to be by myself on Sundays.
Yeah. All right, Croaks, over to you. What is your 11 to 10 weeks out look like?
I think it's 11. I think it was 12 to 11.
12 to 11.
11
yeah,
weeks
I think
yesterday?
It was.
Yeah.
You're like, we're a long way out counting this down.
Yeah, we are a long way out. I took Monday off. So Lily was still on school holiday. So I just spent the day with her, and then got to the afternoon. I'm like, oh, you know what? I might just take a day off just to see whether it would help my hip settle down at all. Then Tuesday was my first run of the week. Met out at Parliament House for some hill reps. So we did 10 by 1 minute hill with about 90 seconds jog back recovery. So it's not a super steep hill. So you still are able to run fairly quick up it. I probably went out a little bit too hard on this session. And you know what it's like when you've sort of cooked it early and then you don't want to like just go, all right, well, I'm going to like significantly slow down now. It's almost like you've made your bed. You got to now like just hold on to that and then just see what happens.
There's consequence to your actions.
Yeah. And so I and it was one of those sessions where I got like 5 reps in and I'm like, whew, like I've only got 5 more minutes of hard running to go, but I know that this next 10, 12 minutes of session is going to be like really, really difficult. And got through it, didn't like blow up, but definitely by the last rep, the last 20 seconds, I was getting that sort of middle distance track lactic sort of feeling, which I don't get very often. And so it was a pretty hard session. So overall, it was just over 6K, 119 meters of elevation. But what also makes it pretty hard is because we're covering 330 meters or so in the minute, because it's not super steep, to then jog back in 90 seconds, you're running, you're not really dawdling back, and that then just makes everything a little bit harder. At one point, 6 or 7 reps in, I was like, you know what, I probably should have an extra 15, 20 seconds recovery here. But, because we're doing it with the group, I felt like, well, it's not real fair for me. If everybody else is running the session correctly, me then to say, all right, we're all going to have an extra 20 seconds recovery just for me. So just kept on the 90-second recovery.
Just on that note, though, in Bendigo, when I did my long run with them last week, they get to the top of the hill and everyone stops and waits for the people at the back of the pack. But then the back of the pack people get to the top of the hill and they're more gassed than anybody else. And then they start jogging again. The people who need the recovery the most don't get it.
Oh, on a long run day?
On a long run day, yeah. So my crammers, he's battling up the hill. He's the last one up the top of the hill. And he's been on the top of the hill for 30 seconds. Heart rate probably only got to 125. And then once Crammers comes up puffing, they just keep going again. I'm like, this is not fair.
That's the lay of the land, mate. That's natural selection at play.
But this session though is almost more, because this one was minute reps, everybody finishes at the same time. And so it's almost more difficult for me because I'm getting the furthest up the hill. So I then have to get back further in that 90 seconds than somebody that's not getting as far up the hill. So anyway, but it was it was a pretty hard session. I was glad I only had 10 and not 12. Then Wednesday, got out from a midweek long run, 90 minutes, 4:10s, so it was 21.6K. I then went to the gym a few hours after that. Then Thursday, went out to Mulligan's, wore the Hyperion Max shoe so I could do some strides afterwards. So I did 45 minutes, 4:23s, and then I don't know, maybe 6 sort of 20-second strides on the dirt. And then
just hold up a sec there, Croaks.
Yeah.
You're picking a shoe to wear for 1 minute 20 seconds. You're going to wear that thing for 45 minutes just for those 6 by 20 second strides at the end.
Yeah, because remember last week you said Brady goes and changes his shoes for the strides after his easy run.
I know.
It's a versatile shoe. That's why he's wearing it.
Pick a shoe that's better for the 45 minutes rather than the 6 by 20 seconds at the end.
Oh, because I want to feel good on the strides, and I feel like you can jog in that shoe.
You can, but you're just making a decision. You're making a decision on 6 20-second strides on what shoe to wear.
Yeah, because that was the important thing for me for that day. It was I want to feel good on these strides.
Oh, putting a lot.
But it's a good jogging shoe as well, though, Moose. I did the same thing today. I had 35 minutes Arvo run with surges, and I'm like, why not? I can put that on. I can go fast in it, and it's going to be fine when I'm jogging. It'd be different if it was
not a good jogging shoe. I'm just saying he's making decisions on his jogging shoe around 6 by 20 second stride.
He's from Canberra, though. We've figured out people up there do some odd things.
I'll move on.
I realised that too.
So then Friday afternoon, we're back out at Mulligan's for one of these sort of undulating, broken tempo sessions. So the previous week I did 5 by 6 minutes with 90 seconds jog. This time around I did 2 12-minute reps and a 10-minute rep, or with 2 minutes jog. I don't enjoy doing sessions out here. Like I do get some sort of level of anxiety because it's just never easy. Like when you're doing sessions over hills and on the gravel, it's like you just don't get into a rhythm. You get towards the back end because it's probably like a 2.5 minute sort of climb 3/4 of the way through the session where you're starting to work pretty hard, and you get to the top of that and you're like, oh. But luckily it's sort of downhill off the top of that. So I was really happy with how this went, and I feel like only having done 2 sessions, this is definitely starting to bring my strength and my fitness up a little bit. Like I was doing 60-minute tempos back when I was running my best, like 15, 16K. And I reckon there's something in these type of sessions. So I went 3:21, 3:24, 3:21 kilometer pace for the reps, and then I was jogging 2 minutes at sort of 4 to 4:10s. So I ended up doing just over 11K, 3:26s in the 38 minutes.
Your heart rate on?
Yeah, my heart rate is like, and that's like I wore it last week as well because I do want to start doing these to heart rate. But if you have a look at it, it's like all over the shop. It like takes ages to kick in, and then it kicks in for a bit, and then it goes like, yeah. And I put brand new batteries in for Gold Coast Marathon, and so it was fine for Gold Coast doing that, and then ever since it's just been.
Yeah, that's your first mistake there. They are built so when you change your battery, they skits out.
Yeah,
they
never come back.
There's like a full conspiracy theory about this. As soon as you change the battery, you might as well just replace the heart rate monitor.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that, which doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
This is good. This is terrible data, though. 131 average. It's all over the place. It drops out at one stage.
Like
one of the I'm telling you, those arm straps are the way to go.
Yeah, like there's a period there where it was accurate. Like I'm trying to sort of keep it under 170. Although I reckon coming up that sort of climb after, I don't know, 8K or something like that, it probably goes a bit higher there, and like perceived effort's fairly high. But like to put into some context, so there's a 10.9K segment. So that's where we started the session from and then come back. And like my best ever average for that segment, I think it's 320 kilometer pace. And I averaged like 326K pace. And like when I averaged 320s, admittedly, it was like as part of a 15K tempo, not like 11K that I did on Friday. But like I'm only sort of 6 seconds a K off that 11K segment. And, and obviously I'm not as fit as I was then, but it's every week that I'm doing this, I feel like I'm getting stronger and stronger. And it's something that I haven't done a lot of for the last few years. So I'm sort of glad that I've been doing it.
And you've banged a 3-minute K in there.
No, I haven't. Where?
Well, I'm just looking fastest split 3-minute K.
Must have been in there somewhere.
No, because have a look at my case. Have a look at my case splits. What?
Yeah,
fastest?
I know, but look what exactly pulled up there on the screen.
Oh, let me.
Yeah, it's probably from half. It's probably like, say, it's like
halfway
from
through the 10th K to halfway. Yeah, that would be where it is near the end there.
Yeah, I don't know how that works because if you have a look at my K splits, like my fastest K was 3:16 at the end.
Yeah, but that's probably included some jogging or something.
No, that was all on the gas. So yeah, I certainly didn't run a 3-minute kilometer in there. Anyway, it was a really good session, and I feel like it's improving me as a runner every week that I'm doing it. So this coming Friday, I'm just going to do the whole 10.9K segment as a tempo, just straight. So probably similar pace to that, maybe a touch slower. Yeah, so that was Friday. Saturday morning, did a lap around Mulligan's and then headed down to Lily's hockey, finished at the hockey field. So that was, 14.6K, 4:15s. Then Saturday afternoon, got out for a second run, 35 minutes at 4:18s. And then yesterday was my long run. So did just over 2 hours, 30K, 4:08s in the Brooks Ghost Max 2, which we will talk about a little bit later on in the show. So it was a week of 121K.
Calming the Sundays down a bit, Moose, isn't he?
That's because he's wearing the Ghost Max 2 on the Sundays. This is the fastest that shoe's ever gone.
I reckon this is the Ben Wisby approach.
What do you mean? Like 4:08 is pretty much my standard long run pace.
Nah, not for you. Not for you. I reckon.
You're up. You can tell though, you've got this little twinkle in your eye. And so normally if there's a twinkle in your eye, Sundays start to cop it. Like those Sunday mornings, they're waking up going, fucking hell, Brad Croker's up and about today. He is going to lash us one.
I think having maybe just backing off the mileage for the last few weeks has helped. Like I'm definitely starting to feel like I'm moving better across the ground. And I don't know if that's a combination of less miles, focusing on those small, like doing a little bit more speed work, gym. I don't know. But look, I tell you what, Moose, there's no twinkle in my eye when I'm getting out of bed in the morning or I'm rolling over in bed because my hip is still just giving me the shits. It's like...
Well, I don't see that because I'm seeing the first K uphill, 4:20. That I can't run under 5 minutes for my first K ever. Like,
yeah,
I am creeping.
That's just like habit for me, but it's like it's uncomfortable and it's probably like 25 minutes into a run before like I have completely like no pain. And look, it's not like a 6, 7, 8 out of 10 pain, but it's just, you know what it's like when you're just constantly like, you know, in pain, like you get out of bed, you hobble for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And then I'll walk around the house, I'll sit on the couch for 2 minutes. And then after sitting down for 2 minutes, I get up and I know the first 5 or 6 steps is going to be really painful again. But then, you know, I run for 30K and other than the first 15 minutes, I have no pain at all. So it's not enough to stop me from running, but there's obviously something that's not right.
Something's going on there. Will you race between now and Melbourne?
I don't think so, no. Like the only one that I was potentially looking at was the New South Wales Half Marathon Champs at Homebush on I think it's the 25th of August, but Viv's away for like a hens weekend. So there's no chance that I'm getting up there for that.
Okay.
So I think I'll just train through.
Moose, you've got Ballarat. Will you do Burnley half marathon as well?
Yeah, I'll do Burnley. Maybe I think. What date's Burnley?
I've got no idea.
I think I might be
Maybe
away
a
from
month
Burnley.
before.
Let me check. I'm going to Zurich. Did I tell you guys that?
No,
Oh, you
that's
dropped
exciting.
it. You dropped it in there a couple of times, I reckon.
Yeah, so I'm away for Burnley.
I got a pair of shoes sent to me last week from Zurich. Looking forward to testing them tomorrow morning. I reckon they could be the race shoe for Chicago.
Jeez.
Looked very good out of the box.
I wore them.
You boys are getting looked after.
I was very impressed. Just bypassed the Australian team and straight from the Zurich team.
Yeah. Well, I got a Strava comment from him. That's almost as good as a pair of shoes.
Are we talking about him a bit later on?
Croaks. Big fan of the old boy. Gives everyone hope seeing what you do.
It does. There was a comment before, Croak, saying you're an inspiration in the YouTube comments here.
Yeah. What, you got YouTube comments?
Yeah, from Chris. He's just wrote in saying currently recovering from a pacemaker surgery, taking inspiration from the great man Croaks and his return to form. Love that. Yeah. So Patreon supporters, if you're there, feel free to add some comments as we're going.
Yeah. Andy Lane's he's on the conspiracy theory, the Garmin conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I actually ran with Andy Lane when he was visiting Chukamoama once, and he told me about this.
Mine's a Polar though.
I knew I'd heard it before.
Andy.
Polar's just as bad, mate. I use them too. I got like a graveyard of heart rate monitors that work great until I change the batteries, and then they just die. So I'm with these guys. You need to be able to charge it with USB. That's the armband. Yeah. So, Croaks,
and to be honest, here's mine here, Croaks. I reckon it's stuffed up on me 5 times, double pretty much every day of the week for the last 8 months. Like, it's pretty reliable for an armband. There's you got a good colour one, yellow.
Yeah.
Or a green. What's that?
The other one's stinking too much. Couldn't get the smell out of it.
Yeah, you put them through the washing machine though.
Oh, I wash them in the sink, but they still smell like you just need another one for like you run in the morning in summer, sweating, stinks. You need a different band for the Arvo.
Yeah. Oh, you swap bands throughout the day. I thought about that.
You can, yeah.
Bloke owns a running shop, Brady.
Yeah, true. You got access to this. The less accurate, the more clothing you got on, though, Moose. Like if you got arm sleeves, less accurate, the more clothing you got on. Like if you've got arm sleeves close to pushing it, and you've got a long sleeve over the top, and it kind of, if you've got bony arms like
annoying.
Me, like if you're on bone.
Trying to put a tight long sleeve on and over the top doesn't work. Yeah, but it's better than the Polar one that I've used that always folds over. This one at least holds its shape a lot better.
What about running T-shirts? We've had beautiful weather up here the last week, like 16, 17 degrees most afternoons. You wear it with a running T-shirt and the T-shirt kind of doesn't cover it. So it's like half under your sleeve. It's just a bit weird. I'm like, I want it fully visible or not visible at all. Yeah. Back to Pamela Anderson throwback.
This episode of Inside Running Podcast is sponsored by Brooks. Brooks has never been good at standing still. Since 1914, they've been propelled by a never-ending curiosity with how humans move. Because, to Brooks, movement is the key to feeling more alive. We're all moving towards something, whether it's a headspace, a feeling, or a finish line. So let's run there. Brooks' shoes, gear, and experiences all have a singular goal in mind. They want to make sure each run, walk, and workout is better than before. A simple enough principle that guides every design and engineering choice they make. Brooks engineer their gear in the lab, but they bring it to life at a human level, testing gear alongside people with unique shapes, strengths, and experiences. Brooks study physiology and biomechanics, so your body and mind can simply enjoy every move you make. They sweat every detail, developing solutions, test them, assess feedback, and test again endlessly until it's right. Each groove in the sole of your shoes, every inch of fabric in your gear, and every single stitch has a reason to exist. If it doesn't improve your experience, you won't see it in Brooks gear. See for yourself at www.brooksrunning.com.au.
Good from you. I'm going to whistle through this week. I started the week with 16K in the morning, 4:30k pace, and then 7k in the afternoon at 4:36s. Tuesday, I did some threshold work. I did 8 by 5 minutes at around 3:15 average with 1 minute slow jog between. This went well. I enjoyed this. It's probably the easiest that like 3:15 pace has come in the last, 3 or 4 weeks, I think. So hopefully it kind of shows that my fitness is kind of improving. And then we're on a new schedule in our house. Carly's working at school on a Tuesday now. So I do the kids' kinder and daycare drop off. And then I go for my run at like 9:30, which in the middle of winter is quite nice because the sun's up. It's a few degrees warmer. Feel like a pro athlete running around at 9:30, 10 a.m. in the morning. 7k in the afternoon at 4:45 pace. Wednesday got out for a medium long run. I did an hour 50, which was 25k at 4:24 pace. And then 30 minutes in the afternoon, I had a meeting for this fun run, which is coming up this weekend, run a Chukamoama. So I got out after that at about 5:30. Thursday, 60 minutes easy, 4:43s, and then 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:43s again. And then Friday, this was really cold. Cold and like foggy. It just, it was miserable, dark as well. I did the 20 by 400 down the straight road. Average probably like 70 to 71. As I said previous weeks, I'm not sure how accurate this is. I literally have 400-meter lap set in my watch and just run until it beeps. And it felt really like average early on. But I think it's the darkness too. Like the sun probably comes up probably after rep, 8 or 10, and I'm less reliant on the street lights lighting up the road and can focus more on just running hard, not wondering where I'm putting my feet. So I felt like the longer the workout went, the better it felt. And I did flick it into fifth gear for the last rep, boys, and just tried to run as hard as I could, which I definitely don't recommend. I ran the last one in 65, my watch told me. So I was happy with that. And this is like tights or short tights close down to my knees, like singlet, under arm warmers, long sleeve top, like woolen gloves to like keep my fingers warm. I find 400 meters, like they're hard when you got a lot of clothing on. So I was happy to knock this over before school.
Why only 20?
I was doing them off 45 seconds walk, and I think I was doing them too hard if I wanted to do more than 20.
So did you decide to do them too hard after you started?
No, I decided to do 20 because I'm tight for time on a Friday morning. So that's Strava. I started at 6:30 a.m. the workout. So I'm probably starting the workout at 6, probably up at 5:15. And then I have to be at my desk at 7. I have to be at home at 7:30 to kind of get home by 8. So I think if I should have started earlier if I wanted more than 20. But to be honest, like through reps 17, 18, 19, I was kind of counting down. I think I needed to do them slower if I wanted to do 24, 30 and really get on my boys program.
I think 20 is enough. And like I've been reflecting a little bit on the last few weeks, and even looking back at my training when I was running my best marathons, and there was always like one session a week in there that was quicker, but not actually that long. Like, I was doing six by a K off like 90 seconds recovery, or 10 to 12 400s a bit quicker. Like, I don't think even though you're training for a marathon, I don't think every session needs to be massive volume. I think there's still a place for shorter, sharper reps where you're basically becoming a more efficient runner.
Yeah, it's 8K worth of work at 2:55 to 3 minute K pace.
It's not crazy for you pace wise, but you get more like a threshold benefit from this type of session. But you also get you get the reps, like the leg
turnover.
Speed going over.
Which is why I'm doing it for the leg speed more than like a big threshold workout.
Can we get a coaching update here? Who have you appointed to lead the charge to Chicago?
Yes. And before I do that, I do have to clarify, because I made some comments about the Runner app last week on air. I said that it was $3.50 a month to be coached by that app and Coach Jen. However, it was $29.95 a month, boys. I didn't read the fine print correctly. So it was actually a lot more expensive, nearly 10 times expensive than what I actually said.
You're giving them a good plug there.
I have, I have cancelled my subscription with the Runner app. I found this thing on the app.
Did you get a few messages though from Jen? Just like, did you
Checking
talk to her?
Why are you cancelling? No, there was an
that's
option.
hard to do she's training for the Olympics. That's a rough, like, you wouldn't
There is
expect
an
her to
option for the
contact you.
live chat, and I thought about sending some messages through. But what annoyed me, they had this like their section on their app there, and it said like, top 15 running podcasts to listen to while you're running. And I clicked on it, thinking maybe we'd slide into like the top 15. And like UK, we got a massive listenership in the UK. We'd be one of the most popular running podcasts in the UK, and this is a UK app. Number one was the Runner podcast app, their own podcast. I don't think they've got it more than 10 episodes. And then it was just like, Rich Roll and heaps of different, like, I don't know.
Rich Roll? What is that?
It was Rich Roll, the podcast.
No, I don't know what Rich Roll is.
You've never heard of Rich Roll?
Moose, you've been living under a rock?
Rich Roll.
He was like an endurance athlete, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was he a swimmer?
Swimmer, vegan athlete, wrote a book. So number one was the Runner podcast. Number two, the Running Channel, the Runners World UK podcast, Run to the Top podcast, Marathon Training Academy. So there's got the Rich Roll was in number 7.
Run to the Top. Who's that?
That's Angie and Trevor, isn't it? I reckon Carly used to listen to that. Angie and Trevor. I think they're like people who done podcasts. Yeah.
So how many coaches reached out to you, Brady?
Well, it was a big, and then something's wrong with my Instagram, boys. I can't take message requests anymore. I think something changed in the settings, and I'm not sure why. So I'm probably lucky that they're not working at the moment, because I got quite a few. I'm going to say I got 15 inquiries. Like, here's my website. Would love to work with you. Got a couple of people ripping me to shreds, just like dot point format. These are the mistakes you've made in the past. And I'm geez, okay.
Good.
Look, I've self-coached myself.
If you like.
I've self-coached myself to run 29.25 for 10K, 65.20 for half, 2:19 at Ballarat on a windy day, Moose. Windy day, altitude. Like, I don't think I've been the worst self-coach in the world.
So let me guess, the ones that bagged you, they're no chance.
Yeah, and Tom DeCano commented on my Strava saying, "Give me a call, mate." So I think he was
Tom DeCano.
He was joking. He hasn't got time to
long runs immediately after his races at the moment. That's his training.
He's on an interesting program, Tommy.
You'll have Ballarat 15K into 30K long run Sunday, Brady.
Oh, I've been looking. Every time he does that, I think, oh, this is some dumb shit.
Yeah. So no, I haven't got it. And I probably need more of a program than a coach as well. I don't need the full package. I just need something to put on the fridge. Send me a month, then send me another month, then send me 2 or 3 weeks. Get me in 218 shape. That's what I'm after. I have not made a decision though. But I have parted ways with Coach Jen.
You're almost running out of time though. And I don't think it's fair for a coach either to come in with only 10 weeks to go and,
Yeah. I'm giving it to him on a platter though. I've done like 4 or 5, 2.5 long runs, 2.5 hours.
I know, like, you may be a bit different to some athletes that reach out to me, but like, I don't particularly enjoy people coming to me 10 weeks before a marathon saying, "Hey, can you write me a program?" Because it's like, well, especially if you look at what they've done previously, a lot of them haven't laid that sort of foundation to then do the marathon block, and you're like, well, this is hard work now.
That's my argument. The foundation's there.
Yeah,
foundation's there. That was Friday anyway, wasn't it? Saturday, Friday night I got out for a jog after school. Had this like blues festival on in town, so there was people everywhere, and I was just jogging around in my shorts and singlet, looking a bit out of place. Blues, boys, do you like the blues?
Singlet?
It's been like 16, 17 degrees.
Actually, I wore a singlet. Yeah, I wore a singlet for Friday Arvo session. It was that nice.
Oh, I wore a singlet today.
Singlets are for racing in. You don't jog in a singlet.
Session.
I do.
He's jogging.
Workouts in a singlet.
Yeah, session, okay, I'll pay a session, but you're not jogging in a singlet. You're either wearing a t-shirt or you're wearing no shirt at all.
Well, definitely wouldn't be wearing no shirt through this.
We've been there. Remember, Brady was the can't run with your shirt off. He was not a fan.
Yeah, he always started body shaming me too, Moose, I reckon. Anyway, we won't go there. Saturday, 16K at 4:33 pace. Sunday, got down to the farm down at Corop. I think there's some controversy down in Corop because there's big signs up now saying like no solar panel farms for Corop. So I've got to ask the locals down there, see what's going on. Where the petition is, I've got to sign it. Did 2.5 hours, 36.2K, 409 pace, 460 meters of climbing, 141 heart rate average. This is the first time in 5 weeks doing a long run have I felt good. And probably the first time I've been quicker than 425 for that same heart rate. I don't know, something just clicked on this one.
Do some math on this, work out that.
Good.
Put it back on that other page again, would you?
On the screen there, yeah.
Work out if it's hilly or not.
Well, they don't. You can see where I go up there. So like every time I go from right to left, I climb up a hill. It's just one mountain range, and then you go flat a bit, and then you drop back down it. So the hills go for like 3 or 4K, but then you have long downhills. And I intentionally, tell me about this, putting a bit more tempo into.
I'll pay the bit of hill there. Just hit hilly. Yeah,
putting a bit of tempo into the downhills to smash up the quads. Yay or nay?
If you're training for the Paris Olympics.
Or for someone who runs on the flat every other day of the week,
a bit risky. Like a lot more load through the knee. If I would never do it, my knees would not handle that well at all. That's no good.
And when I say tempo, like I'm saying, maybe what's the quickest split there? Like 340 pace? Like I'm not sprinting down them, but I'm not switching it off.
Like I think when I was like, Moose and I both run like relatively hilly long runs. Like I don't think even when I was running at my best, the focus on those hilly long runs was running hard down the hills. It was just running constantly up and down. I certainly wasn't surging down hills on long runs.
Yeah, okay.
Most of the hills that we run on our long runs are just either too steep or too technical to run fast like this. They're trails, not dirt roads.
Yeah, 345 was my fastest downhill. But the gaps pace is 412. Like you're going down 64 meters. Anyway, that was a week of 179 Ks. Let's talk about some Patreon supporters. Thank those and get onto some running news, eh? Who you got, Croaks?
I've got Jarryd Ryan from Brisbane. His Strava's locked down, but I think he's run 18:57 at the Kedron Park Run, 39:32 for 10K at the Bridge to Brisbane, 88 minutes at the Noosa Half, and 3:16 at last year's Noosa Marathon. Pretty impressive times, given he's an over 50, I'm pretty sure, and runs for In Training, and is potentially a consultant in accounting and financial management. So thanks for your support, Jarryd.
In Training, got some good supporters that come out of that training group up there, Croaks, in Brizzy.
Is that a training group or a running store?
I think it might be both. Yeah.
Both, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Who you got, Moose?
I have Pauline O'Kane. Well, there's a bit of a celebrity down here. Ali O'Kane's mum goes by Pauline. So the results that Croaks has found, 23:27 at Torquay Park Run, 53:03 at the 2012 Sydney Harbour 10K, 1:47 2019 Run Melbourne. That's the pick of the bunch there, I reckon. A big family farm down at Colbo between Bendigo and Echuca. They own thousands of hectares there. Not sure about that, actually.
That's Brady, not me.
I added that in. I can tell you, mate, I ran past their silos yesterday. I was there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, something's going on with the sheep at the moment too. There seems to be more sheep in the paddocks.
You know what happens? You know what happens this time of year? Lambs.
What? There's plenty of lambs getting around with the mum and dad.
That's why the sheep numbers get bigger, because they have babies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lambs. They're like baby sheep.
Okay, so this could be a really dumb question. Like we could be getting into like fish and penguin kind of territory here, but like they only give birth at a certain time of the year. A sheep can only fall pregnant at a certain time, and then they give birth in a certain time.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, they're all like on the same like time frame thing. It seems to be that they all pop out at once. Yeah. Although we went out hunting for lambs on Sunday Arvo, and I found lambs that were all different, like timelined. So there's one that was very fresh. Then there was some that had a bit more curly hair, and then there was some teenage lambs. So I'm going to say there might be a season for it, but it's not all like on the same day.
I don't even want to ask a question that you went hunting for lambs on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, well, it's Sunday roast day.
Are you joking? You go hunting for your food?
Well, where else are you going to get them from? The supermarket. They don't sell whole lambs at the supermarket.
What, are you on like private property and stuff?
There's heaps of them out there. They don't even know it goes missing. Half of them die in the cold anyway.
Rightio. Back to Ali O'Kane's mum.
Let's go back to Paulini. Gun netballer. She's one of those old warriors that was out there when she was 50 years old still playing netball. Multiple premiership winner for North Albury Hoppers. She was a goal attack back in the day. Retired after she did her knee. Bit competitive. Had to call it, this is from Ali here, had to call Dad an ambulance after he and Mum were racing on an easy run in Anglesey one day, and Dad had a heart episode.
Wow.
That could be the last time they ran together, maybe. So thanks, Pauline, for signing up to Patreon. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Pauline. I'm going to thank Grace McConnon. Not sure where she's from, but hasn't posted anything on Strava for quite some time, but found the following results: a 23:45 at the 2021 Run the Bridge 5K, a 48:22 at the 2021 Launceston 10K, and a 1:55 at the 2022 Canberra Half Marathon. And we're pretty sure she's a registered nurse with the Tasmanian Health Service. So lives down there in Tassie. Thanks for all you do for the nursing community and the people in hospitals, Grace, and thanks for your support of the Inside Running podcast. What about this?
I think that was a Cadbury Half Marathon too, Brady.
What did I say?
Canberra.
Both
start with C. Close enough.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Grace. Patreon, good month to be on Patreon. This week we got starting our daily episodes around the Paris Olympics. We got some big co-hosts like teed up as well. We've got Jeffrey Risley. He's been to 4 Olympics, boys. The last time he wasn't at an Olympics was 2004 Athens. So he's come straight from going to the Olympics to feature on our daily shows. So I'm really looking forward to having him on some of the paddles. Benny St. Lawrence is going to join us from 2012, 2016 Olympian. Ali Pashley, the minute we kind of told people that we're going to do these shows, 1 million people wrote in saying, please get Ali Pashley involved because she's one of the fan favourites. Luke Matthews is also going to join us from the 2016 Olympian. And we've got a couple of internationals who are also going to be helping us out. One of them, fellas, has access to the warm-up track. So I'll be patching him in from the warm-up track on the ground to give us updates, which is I'm not sure if he's allowed to do that, but I think that's really cool that he could be there when the boys are putting their spikes and just we give him the code and he just calls in to give us a bit of an update about what's happening. And these guys know their things about the internationals over there racing as well. So a few more names to be dropped, but they're some of the key players who you're going to hear from. Not all of them every day, but they'll be popping up throughout the 10 days of the track and field schedule. Running news, Croaks.
I think Moose is up first.
Oh, I got it. Do I? Sydney Harbour 10. That's always happens every year. Big names in this one, actually. Huge names. Pay a bit of cash, I reckon. Ed Goddard got the win again over Tom DeCanto, turning into a real rivalry in Sydney. Ed ran 30:02 to beat Tom, 30:14. Sam Clifford 30:40 in third. So fairly high firepower in that front three. Leanne Pompeani, 32:01, very fast. Won by a minute over Paige Campbell, 33:01. Caitlin Adams, 33:16. You notice Leanne never takes it easy, sits and kicks, does she? When she is in a race, she just batters people. She goes as hard as she can. She's pushing from the start to the finish and never leaves it close if she possibly can. I like that about her.
It's pretty impressive run from her when you look at the times like the top guys ran. So like it was really windy in Sydney yesterday, and I don't think it's a particularly quick course. It's a bit sort of twisty and turny.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But the fact that, you know, like you're backing Ed and Tom to run like low 29 minutes on a perfectly flat course with no wind. So there's, you know, 30 seconds or more, which puts Leanne in that sort of, you know, 31 low, I would have thought, like in similar conditions on a fast course. So she's in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
I feel Leanne would get her kicks out of smashing some sub-elite men too. Like these mixed gender races. She's like, I'm not worried about just winning the females. Like, I'm taking names while I'm doing this.
Yeah, if you're having a bad day as a sub-elite, you are getting smacked up.
Yeah.
So we had had some Aussies go around in a British Milers Club meet, the Tooting British Milers meet, which was supported by Market Access, and one of the actually the COO is a IRP patron. So I think that company put a fair bit of money into this to, you know, get some of the big names there. So they're doing good things for the sport. In terms of the results, Jack Anstey, he finished 6th in 3:36.31, which was a PB. Race was won by 19-year-old Nick Griggs, who's from Ireland, in 3:35.04, which broke Sam Tanner's British Milers Club all-comers record. Sam Tanner opened up his season, coming second in the race in 3:35.52, and Joe Wigfield was third in 3:36.09. In the C race, we had Jarryd Clifford run 3:41, which not far off his PB, which is the world record for his category. So that's a good sign for the upcoming Paralympics from Jarryd. He had a quiet last few years, so he's rounding into form at the right time. And in the men's 800, Adam Spencer finished second in 1:47.13. Race was won by Justin Davies, 1:46.26. So this race happened a few days after the London Diamond League. So I guess one last hit out for Adam Spencer.
Good from Clifford too.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Adam would be heading over to the Montpellier camp, you'd think immediately after, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
So they're all still there, aren't they? Like no one's in the village yet? Going by Instagram, it looks like they're all in the camp.
I don't think they would be able to if they're so worried about beds and that kind of thing. You wouldn't think that they would let someone into the village 2 weeks before their event.
Yeah. What, so they sleep in someone else's bed? That's how it works.
Oh,
like swimmers ship out and then you go in.
I don't know.
I heard that, like the swimmers and stuff, like they need to be out 48 hours after they're sort of finished competing.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about those ones like the rugby players the other day? They were eliminated before the opening ceremony.
Yeah, they're probably gone.
They're home. Which is a great segue to the point about Brett pulling, he gave his spot to Andy Buchanan. So this was announced Friday, right on 5 p.m. The release come from Athletics Australia that Brett had called Andy and said that he can have his spot for the race. One of the worst kept secrets getting around, I think. Moose, you had it first. You had it about Wednesday lunchtime that he was on his way to Paris. And then, I think I kind of got it confirmed Wednesday night. And then I was getting worried when the announcement didn't come because I'm like, oh, maybe this is a unreliable source, but it turned out to be true, which, it must be very weird for Brett to be in that situation. And then like, I just feel for his mental health straight away. Like, I get FOMO when there's an Athletes Victoria race on and I'm not doing it. Like, imagine all your training partners going into the camp and going into the village. He's the fastest marathoner we've ever produced. Like, he should be there duking it out. And the fact that does he just get put on a plane and just say, all right, you head back now. We've got Andy coming. Like, even like all the goodie bags, do you see all the stuff they get when they get there? Does he still get all that?
I doubt it because I haven't gone into the village yet. I'd say that he just, basically fends for himself. That being said, I think it would be much harder if this was Brett's first Olympics. Like if he qualified and this was his first one, that's got to be much harder. And like, it's still got obviously difficult. But then you think of somebody like Eloise. Remember her story of how many Olympics she like qualified for, and then basically had to pull out with injury. Like,
So how did it play out? Do you know, Brady? Because you are closer with Andy than we are. Do you know what happened in the back end? Was it Brett's decision not to run, or did AA sort of conduct like a fitness test or a health check and then say, okay, you've passed this, or you've obviously not passed this, so you're out. Do you want to call Andy? How did that play out on the back end?
Yeah, so I have no idea. So last Sunday when I ran with him, and like it gets tricky. I think I explained it last week. Like I talked to him as the Inside Running podcast, Brady, and I talked to him as the Bendigo Bats kind of training partner, Brady. So like I said to him when we were just both jogging, like, hey, this stuff I'm going to ask you some questions, but this is off the record. Like he shouldn't have to tell me stuff and then worry that I'm going to tell 20,000 people on a podcast on Monday night. So he, I'm sure he won't be mind going into more details though, but he had absolutely no idea last Sunday when I ran with him, and he was on the plane on Wednesday night. He did fill out all the documentation when he was listed for emergency. Like, so that was stuff like your medical forms, your uniform measurements, all that kind of stuff. Like he had to do the online modules, things like that. But he was very much in the dark, and this is my opinion talking to him. He probably thought it was more of a no than it was going to be a yes at that stage. So, I then, obviously congratulated him, and he said it all happened very quickly. So I'm not sure, because I guess if Brett's had injured, like what else can he do? Like that's the option. You give over your spot. I don't think, and I wonder if Athletics Australia made that. I think there was, how it was very late that he was added as an alternative as well. Like I think there were probably things in place, and I'm fully speculating here that was probably the only outcome that was going to be possible for Brett.
I'm guessing at the end of the day, it would have been Brett's call, but based on the injury, like I'm guessing it was somewhat bone related or whatever, where it's like, well, this is what the injury is. There's no way you can actually run through this. And so it makes it easy. Whereas you might have another niggle where you haven't been able to train properly for the last 3 weeks to a month, but you can get yourself around a marathon. Like, and there might be people, there's always people at the Olympics like that are like, okay, not 100% healthy, but they can get to the finish line.
Do you think there's a responsibility that AA have to send our best team? And if they're like aware that, let's say the hypothetical is that Brett's had a stressy and he's been off running and he's been allowed to run 2 weeks before the race, and then he starts running again and he's not in pain. And so he can run for 2 weeks, and then there's the Olympic marathon, but he's clearly missed 6 weeks of training or however long it is. It's hypothetical. Do you think AA go, we've got a fit bloke sitting in Bendigo right now who's just itching to go, and we could put our best team on the park, or no, we've selected this fella, he's going to run 42K, he'll get around. Where's the...
I think they do have a responsibility
here.
I think they do have a responsibility to go, we've got, and probably speculating once again, that's probably exactly why he hasn't come out and said what his injury was and was trying to keep it quiet. It was the oddest thing, him going on a podcast every week and just not addressing it. Like, it was painful.
Yeah, but AA would know. Like, he's in
that
system. He uses the doctors. The doctors are all there for him. The physios, like, he obviously is getting the advice.
Yeah, they would have got scans for them.
So he's made the call. Obviously, the super correct call. And if it was him making the call, not AA making the call, I don't know how the back end of this stuff worked. I just want, like, it throws up that hypothetical where, if AA are aware someone's not 100%, what's the percentage that they need to be at before they pull the reserve in as the better option?
Because the problem is here as well, it's like, if AA selects somebody, you can't then just go and unselect somebody. Like, that's going to open up a whole other can of worms, because it's like, you might have selected somebody, they're not injured, but they're not running very well in the week before the Olympics, do AA then go, well, we think this person's going to run faster, we're going to bring them in? Like, that is, that's not a good.
Can you?
No, but it's almost the same. It's like, if Brett's been selected, if Brett can run 42 kilometers and wants to run 42 kilometers, you can't unselect him. So I think it has to be the athlete's decision. And I think Brett, like, having been at a couple of the Olympics, and he's a competitive guy, like, he's not going to want to go there and just jog around and make up numbers and be towed up. So, yeah, it was definitely the right call.
It's a shame, though, isn't it? Like, when you're talking about Olympic marathoners, like Olympic marathon races, you want our current record holder in the arena, like, duking it out with these guys. Like, I hope they get to the bottom and find out, hey, was it an intensity thing or load, or like, what do we do wrong so it doesn't happen again?
It also shows the marathon, like, you don't see as many other track and field athletes like not making a start line of an Olympics, where it's like, it is hard to get to the start line of a marathon, especially if you're trying to like throw everything at it.
Yeah, the other change as well was Sisse Lima. He's out and he's replaced by the world champion Tamarat Tola, also won New York. So I'd love to say a likeness like similar to Australia, just pulling out one amazing marathon and putting in another one. But it's exciting for Andy. I feel it's so weird. Like, I ran with him last week, and then we're watching like little documentary things at school about him, like, you know, they're unpacking their rooms and showing us all their uniforms. And I'm like, that's Andy from Bendigo who's going to be doing that next week. Like, it's the boy next door vibe. He's becoming an Olympian. It's very odd. They're very, and it's almost a
bit of a free hit for Andy as well. Like, given he hasn't had much notice or time to actually do marathon training, there's probably not a heap of expectation on him. So it is a bit of a free hit, which could actually work in his favour.
Pull his Strava up, Brady. Put his Strava bars up on the screen. I want to see him.
That's not me doing that. That's Zaka. Zaka's controlling that one.
Sorry,
but he'll be able to do that. But there's a whole lot of listener questions coming in the comments here, but I do want to try patch someone in, boys. This might get edited for iTunes and stuff, but I can see there's someone on the line here, and we'll see how smooth we can do it. I think I've got Davin from Bali, I'm going to say. Davin, we got you there on the line?
Yeah, g'day. How you going, fellas?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself? What's your question?
Oh, well, I'm just hanging about here. It's a terrible place to run. So I saw the Patreon thing on the beach, and I thought I'll go back to the room and check it out. So I'm on Wi-Fi, but it's going all right. I thought it'd be the test mule for you.
This is great.
I've got an Olympics question for you. I posted it for the monthly maybe a month or two ago, but it pertains to the Olympic marathon. I'm in my 50s. When Olympic marathons were in the 70s and 80s, they started in the stadium and finished in the stadium. But the last 3 or 4 Olympics, they haven't. They finished out on the street like a major does. And I think of those things like Deke winning in 82, coming into the stadium, doing a lap. Karen McCann at the Com Games, the MCG. And the one that I always love is Sammy Wanjiru coming in, I think it was in Beijing, one arm aloft. 80,000 people all quiet, waiting, watching on the big screen, and then they see this bloke shoot through and everyone just goes crazy. But we seem to have gone away from that. And I don't know whether the marathon this year is going to finish in the stadium, but I just think as athletes, even though they're marathoners, they're part of the athletic team. They almost should have the right to be able to finish in the stadium. I just want to see what you guys reckon.
That's a brilliant question. And you also see the carnage, the wobbly legs. I think when you got a last 100 meters and the brain goes, and like, how many times have you seen people staggering on the athletics track to try and get to the finish line? More so, I think, than you do on the road outside. Thanks for your question, Davin. What do you reckon, Moose? World champs? That was on the road.
I'm with Davin. I love the finish, the theatrical nature of it, being in front of 80,000 people or however many the stadium holds. I think it's a celebration of the marathon by doing that. It can create an epic finish to the event. Like you mentioned, Karen, in the 2006 Com Games in Melbourne. Like, it is a sensational finish. I believe it would probably come down to logistics being difficult to work it out in terms around timing around the other events. Probably having the stadium accessible to people running into it. It would be most likely come down to logistics as to why they do it and how easy it would be to create the finish line on the roads instead. And I don't particularly like that at all. I feel like an athlete would be very disappointed not to finish in the stadium.
Anything to add there, Crokes?
No, I like.
Go back to the bench.
Yeah, no, I like it. Even doing like Lake Biwa, like starting at the track and then finishing at the track is pretty cool. I'd like to know why they don't do it, but as you said, Moose, I'd say it is to do with logistics. Especially if it's an area where I don't know, like trying to close all like major, because obviously the stadiums are in like the sort of build up area, so have to probably close a lot more major roads than you would if you've got the marathon course somewhere else.
Well, you also have athletes finishing anywhere from like 2 hours 5 to 2 hours 35. So you pretty much got to have the track open for 30 minutes while that happens without any other events going. Like unless they siphon like people after 2:15 or something into a different finish shoot area outside the stadium. I'm not sure.
But, if they can do it at the MCG in October, surely they can work it for the Olympics. But I don't know. Anyway, good to hear you're on board anyway. All right.
Thanks,
cheers,
mate.
fellas.
Enjoy the beach and holiday over there.
Catch you later.
Yeah, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
We also have another listener here, boys. I think it says here Jordan from Paris. I'm going to try and add him in here. Jordan from Paris, you're on mute. You need to unmute your call first. Welcome to the Inside Run podcast. What's your question? This is our man, boys.
Boys, Mr. Hollywood.
I don't have a question. I feel stupid. I just want to check it works before we do it for real.
Just want a bit of me time, eh?
Yeah, a little bit. Am
I allowed to use their colourful language?
Yeah, you can say what you want. Yeah. Give us a hot tip, Jordan. What are we who are you looking out for? An international to look out for at Paris?
Oh, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, guys, I just jumped off the train and it's baking hot. If you're coming from a place without the heat, you're going to suffer when you get here. Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, I got a question for you. I watched a little clip on Geordie Beamish over the weekend in the lead up to his Paris Diamond League. And he mentioned that his sort of body wasn't 100%. Has it improved since then?
Yeah, I think he doesn't travel too well off the long flights, jumping straight into races. And now he's had, 2.5, 3 weeks. So, yeah, 2 days ago, I was at the track with him. He hammered a big workout. So, yeah, I think he's ready. And he's running PBs 5 seconds quicker than last year. So, yeah, he'll be there.
I reckon he's a good medal chance, Geordie.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a weight on his shoulders as well, winning that world indoors, and there's a lot of eyes on him and he's very conscious of that. So maybe this is just a bit of him letting a little bit of stuff out with his words, being a little bit nervous. But I think when the gun goes, that's when you see him.
Jordan, an update on Morgan McDonald. He was Mr. Race maybe, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. He put on his Strava. It was good to see him nice and open about it with a little niggle. Like, see back going all right?
Yeah, he did that same workout with Geordie Beamish, Jarryd Clifford, Kai Robinson. They were doing like 1K, 600, 400, 200 at like, what would it be, like 240, 128, 56, and then faster. So they were moving, It's time to race for these guys. So, but yeah, Morgan's looking good. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. We've got big tickets on Morgan because back when he ran college, he beat Grant Fisher, if you didn't know, in cross country.
Yeah, I was chatting a little bit offline there to Moose on the text, and I think Morgan can make the final. And then who knows, let's see what happens with the tactics in the final. But yeah, he should be able to make the final. That's the goal.
Awesome, mate. So you'll be based in Paris from now until the track and field finishes?
Yeah, so for the next 2 weeks, just landed right now. And then, yeah, I'll be in the warm-up area before and then in the stadium for the big races. So, yeah, hopefully we can do a little bit.
Mate? How do you get that ticket in? You work for Switzerland, Great Britain?
No, we make the shoes, mate. Like we pay the athletes so they can live and train and have a career, you know? Unlike the Olympics, unlike the IOC.
Yeah, but you're aligned. What's your actual title? We should tell the listeners. So like head of innovation at On?
So I lead the innovation team for all athlete product, like footwear, apparel, racing, training. Yeah.
Roger Federer's shoes, you make them?
What shoes? Roger Federer?
Yeah.
I mean, he's retired, but yeah, that's also within our team. Actually, we have one of our tennis players is playing right now. I should be watching, but yeah.
So you're not aligned to a country to get these like all access passes, but you are. Also, does every brand have like their shoe developers in there? Like, so the Nike guys rubbing shoulders with you, and there's an Adidas guy, and you guys have access to this stuff?
Yeah. So what happens is every brand gets between 2 and 5 passes, like accreditation, depending on the size of the brand. Like Adidas, Nike, they'll get more because they're covering like every single sport, literally. So as a brand, we get 2 passes, and you can have 5 people register for a general accreditation, and then you have to share this 2 kind of upgrade passes between the 5 of you. So at one time, 2 people can go into the different venues and so on. We just have to make sure everything's good with the athletes and product and stuff. We see all our competitors from Adidas, Nike, and so on, and we all go out for like drinks and stuff as well. So it's quite it's a bit of a small industry from that point of view. Yeah.
And a quick question on the shoes. So the On athletes, the shoes that they're wearing at the Olympics, are they custom made for them individually?
Yeah.
And
so the bottom,
and if so, how does that work with the World Athletics guidelines of you're meant to be able to buy them and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So as you've seen, like the product which has just been released, like the last 2 days, what we're in Paris for, it's like a robot which makes the shoe. It sprays healing. Yeah. And this is, I mean, we've developed it with athletes. So like with our top athletes, we've got 66 athletes at the Olympics, and around how many? Maybe 30, 35 of them have been part of the development of that product. So all of their input's been gone into it. But when it comes to the actual bottom unit, that's like a universal, it's the same for every athlete, essentially. When it comes to the different sizes and the different shapes of the feet, some of the sizes are built around different athletes' feet. So if you want to get the size 11 spike, you're going to be wearing the same last as Jarryd Clifford. And if you want the women's 8.5 marathon shoe, that's fit for Helen Obiri. So you better hope you have a similar shape foot to Helen Obiri. Yeah.
How many units for sale?
I think here, 2024 in the exhibition, we have like a big art gallery with the robot spraying everything every day. And I think coming later in the year, it will be at New York City Marathon, I believe. And then at Tokyo Marathon as well. Like the robot will move around. Yeah.
Jordan, last one for me, because I don't want to use all the content that we can potentially talk about on the Daily Show coming up at the end of the week and next week. But how many of the people in similar roles as you for other brands are as like hands-on with the athletes and jumping in jogs with them and workouts? And saw a photo on your Strava today, you and Dathan arm around each other. Like you seem very close to the boys on the and the girls on the ground there, which must be a massive help for designing their shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to throw other people under the bus from other brands, but it's a choice, right? Like if you want to get close to the athletes, get to know them, build up their trust, it's the most important thing, that they can give you the feedback, which then you can then build better products for them. That's been the goal since we started. And for me personally, it's a lot easier. Like I'm a bit younger, so I can still do workouts with the athletes and go for jogs with them and so on. There's a line, obviously, you can't get too close, because what happens if you have to like drop the athlete or not renew the contract? It can be difficult, that type of stuff. So there's definitely a professional line between it. But at the end of the day, like, our sport is a cool sport. It's quite small. It's built on like, there's good people there. So we all want to see each other do well. And if that means that just me, but the rest of my team, designers, engineers, they're also doing similar to me, diamond leagues, big events, training camps with athletes. we're just getting better insights that we can then make better products for the athletes. So as long as we keep that as the main goal, then I think it's all good. And we've noticed other brands have changed their setup internally to replicate what we're doing. And I think that's just a big kudos to our team and how we're changing the industry from a product creation point of view.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, mate, this was not planned at all, but I'm glad you called in because we've got some great content there. And looking forward to talking to you in the next week or two. You look good. You've got that kind of Chriso glow about you too, boys. These
I don't know,
have you not seen his Strava? He's in a different fucking summer country every week.
I know. They got
Look at
the
all those
tans.
skirts.
We're sitting
Look at
over
all
here
All he
white.
does is go and have coffee and jog with athletes.
You've got
nice.
a bunch of Aussies speaking to like a I don't know a pasty guy from Liverpool, like giving me shit about my tan, you know.
Yeah, you look good, mate. You look good. All right. Well, thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you again next week.
Good
See you,
stuff,
mate.
guys. Cheers.
Bye.
On your Jordo.
All right, fellas. That went well. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with that segment, but that worked really well. Should we go, Croaks, to the Ghost Max 2, thanks to Brooks shoe review? There's some whispers coming in. There's some questions and stuff as well coming up on the screen, which I'm sure we'll get to. Some of them I want to save for the daily show just because there's some Olympic content there, but thanks to the people writing in as we're going. Moose, give us the specs. Massive thanks to Brooks for sending this shoe through. I'm very, have you got yours there? Very, you got white on white.
Oh,
I got black on black. Yours black on black, Croaks?
No.
Yeah.
This one here is all white. This is
mine is
clean.
all black and it is a beautiful. Been wearing it everywhere.
I'll go and grab mine.
I wore mine to the Blues Festival down the street the other day. It looked amazing. But give us the specs. What's it made for? Where does it sit on the shelf?
All right.
Who's
well,
your shoe
before
for?
we give the specs, we'll talk about it. It's a recovery shoe. It's a maximal shoe. So maximal, what does that mean to me? It means that it takes a lot of load away from the foot and the ankle joint. That's how I describe a maximal shoe. I don't want the foot to work in a shoe like this. I want it to be very stable. So a maximal shoe should have width through the midsole. So you can sort of see, if I give that close up, this is a very wide, straight last shoe. If you look down on it from above, there's a lot of flare. So it's sort of hard to tell on the camera, but there's flare under the foot. So your foot has a lot of footprint underneath it, which provides a greater level of stability. Then the next thing you'll notice is the stack height. So I think it's 39 mil up front. I believe it's set on about a 6 mil offset. So 39 up front, 39 at the back, 33 at the front. It's got the new foam. It's called DNA Loft version 3, and that's their nitrogen infused foam. Now, this is different from the version 1. I don't reckon a lot of our listeners would have tried the version 1. It didn't last, like it wasn't around for that long. It got a good update early. And this is a great update. It's a lot firmer than the last one. It's a lot more stable. It's a lot more durable. Feels bouncier. To me, this is a shoe that I put on at work and I feel like I'm recovering all day in it. It's not something like a minimal shoe where I feel like the foot and ankle sort of has to work hard, where I get sore calves during the day, where I feel my foot bending and flexing. It's really quite rigid. Shoes that it competes with: New Balance More, Hoka Bondi, On, Cloud Eclipse, Asics, Glide Ride. That's the kind of shoe that this one is. I really like how stable it is. That this back, you can sort of see there. Look at that rear foot. So for me, it's for someone like, it's a great shoe for someone who's a bit bigger, because that type of midsole handles a little bit more force, a little bit more body weight, a little bit slower cadence, a bit more rear foot strike. Brilliant shoe to walk in. I wear it at work, like I said, every day. Croaks, I'm real surprised you wore it for a long run at that pace. To me, it just feels a bit too much shoe for that, but you're obviously getting away with it.
Yeah, my first run was I did 90 minutes straight out of the box. And I think a couple of weeks ago I said, like, I was umming and ahhing whether I'd actually wear it, because I didn't have high expectations at all. And once my hip warmed up, like, I felt amazing. I think I averaged 409s 90 minutes straight out of the box. And then I wore it again last Saturday for my double. And then I thought yesterday, I'll go give it a crack for 2 hours or just over 2 hours. And 408s for 30K. And I think what I like about it is, look, it's firm compared to a lot of other shoes that I would wear, but I like how much shoe there is there. So it feels cushioned because of the amount of stack, also the stability. And I'm not sure if there's something about the rocker in it that just works for me. But when you said that it compares to the Glide Ride, I really liked the Asics Glide Ride when we had that, and I found that I could get rolling in that shoe as well. So the only issue I've had, and it's probably more of a me issue than a shoe issue, is that on the outside here, I start to get like a bit of a hot spot just on the outside of my foot. But, that's more when I'm in it for 2 hours. So maybe I just haven't worn it in enough. Or it's not necessarily the shoe. It's more maybe me.
Glide Ride was an interesting comparison because I love that shoe. And I can see it now that you mentioned that. But I still think this is a lot heavier, Moose. Would that be backed up?
Weight-wise, I don't reckon there'd be a ton of difference. Okay. The Glide Ride just had a lot less surface area underneath. It was a lot narrower through the heel, and it had a more exaggerated rocker. It also had a nylon plate in the shoe. This one's not plated.
Yeah. One of the comfiest shoes, I think I said that before, but one of the comfiest shoes I've worn. Like when I told you I went to pick up Olivia from daycare, and the lady from the local shoe store asked me how I had that shoe so early. And I was like, oh, this is one of those. Like, she's like, how do you get that shoe? Like, that's not for sale yet. And I'm like, okay, this is on people's radar. This is very good. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably for me, I reckon the most I've put in it is 40 minutes, like second jog of the day kind of thing. Whole lot of protection under my foot, just smashing that foam. Not really going much quicker than 4:30 pace in it, and just protecting the legs to get through that second run for the purpose to get rolling the next couple of days.
That's what I would use it for.
That's
if
the
I
purpose.
was running it. Yeah, that's what it's designed for sure.
Yeah. Where pricing moves? Bigger shoe, more expensive?
Boys, I'm going to say they're like 260, 270 now.
Okay.
It's got a price update. It's nothing crazy. We do really well with it because we stock it in like 3 widths: women's B, women's D, and women's 2E, and men's D, 2E, and 4E. So that's how popular it is. I only stock very good shoes in that many widths. So it's a sign that how much we love it when we stock it in 3 different widths in the store.
Brooks do that more than other brands. Have I heard you say that in Shoe Geeks?
Yeah, very good with width. Yep, for sure.
And New Balance.
New Balance also good with width.
Well.
Yeah, both of them.
That's good to know. Massive thanks to Brooks for their support of the Inside Running podcast. That is the review today of the Ghost Max 2. It's available now too, isn't it, Moose? You can get it at your local running retailer.
Yeah, different colours too. So you've seen a couple of them.
They're also
recently? Pardon?
Just dropped recently though. Like it's pretty new.
Yeah, recently. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was a July drop. So this one here has mesh upper, but at the same time there are options out there that have knit upper. The knit is like a more lifestyle type play, so probably better for walkers, that kind of thing. And it just it looks nicer. It looks like a casual shoe, but it has the functional midsole.
Geez, they don't make a bad color either. All 5 options.
There's some good ones. There are some good ones.
Those boys.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Whispers, they got nothing confirmed. A lot of speculative whispers getting around. Following up from Croaks' last week. You're on the money with Sinead pulling out that podcast, Croaks. The DM's lit up with Croaks, a new whispering king, bringing that one up there. But Sinead's in the promos. I think she's good to go. She's looking good from the Athletics social media. She's in photos with Andy in her uniform. So that could have been smoke and no fire, that one. So hopefully Sinead, top 10 last Olympics. This course will suit her. She's an animal in the heat and on the hills. So it's just a shame it's 2 weeks away. I'm ready to go, boys. I'm ready to see this stuff happen in the next couple of days. But anyway, we've got a bit of time to kind of wait and just build our froth levels slowly over the next 10 to 14 days. Got anything from your own boys?
Ooh, whispers.
Put you on the
I
spot,
don't really. I don't. I got nothing.
Move on the moose on the loose then. Move on. What do you got for moose on the loose?
This may have happened. I mean, we're 352 episodes in. I may have gone this person before. And it's not so much a specific person. Well, it was a specific person on the weekend, but it's you would know this type of character in the running world. It's the Garmin alert pest. So it's the guy that is in the group or the girl, and you're running along and their watch makes about 15 different beeps every 10 minutes. So the first one could be the start of the run. Obviously, you start your watch, beep, it goes off. And then you're going to hear the performance condition alert. So I don't know. I think it's about 7 minutes. Garmin will tell you how you're going for the day. +4, -2, whatever it is.
It's always about 2K when you're doing a workout.
Yeah,
and that can really make or break my confidence. Or you know your heart rate strap's not working.
Well, remember mine came, Brady, we chatted about that when we were pacing Gold Coast. Mine went off.
Pacing next to each other. They both went off.
And because it was the first time I'd actually worn like a proper heart rate strap and it had like +5 or something. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Mine said -2, didn't it?
Good. That is good.
Same.
I'd take a 5 any day of the week. Take +5. And then on this particular Sunday, the K lap split. So bang, K goes off. You're like, oh, this is a long run, 26K. I'm not sure we need every K split going off like that. Then we had the pace alert. So pace alert goes off when this runner goes a bit too slow or a bit too fast for the range that's been set in the Garmin. So you go up a hill, pace alert goes off. Come off the top of the hill, pace alert goes off because you're going too fast on the other side. Then there's the heart rate alert. So if you're not within the right heart rate, it'll go off. So if you start working too hard, it's going off. Same thing down the hill, heart rate drops, goes off, tells you to work harder. Then there's the countdown into the lap finishing. So this, I'm not sure how it worked with the auto lap going off for the K, but it went off for the lap too. So Kramers, he's got K splits going. He's got pace alerts going off, and then his thing. You get to 15 minutes into his workout, and then it counts down, finishes. So we've had about 25 beeps through this first 15 minutes. It's pretty irritating. What are some other beeps that you blokes deal with out there?
So what about this one? So when I did that workout on Friday morning, so I had my lap set up for 400 meters. So then I save the workout, change into my heavy shoes, do my cool down, forget to turn them off. Well, watch is still beeping, showing me a lap every 400 meters with the cool down.
Oh, no.
Go to work. Okay, it gets worse. Go to work, go out for my afternoon run, get 400 meters into my afternoon 8K run. Beeps. Oh, shit, I've still got those turned on. I just say, that's okay, Brady. Just ignore it. Just run through. So I did the whole 8K run with 400 meter laps going off. The next morning, Saturday, start my jog, 400 meters in, goes off again. I've got a 16K run here. Do I go back or do I stop the watch,
stop your watch,
save it,
start again?
No, you can
save it.
You don't have to save it.
Just did the whole 16K, boys, with 400 meter splits going off.
You are a nuffy.
Yeah.
And then I
What's
finally
a 400 meter split when you're jogging, by the way?
About 147, about 150 when they were coming up. Yeah, I knew I was doing a good 400 when it was 147 and a bad 150. So that was doing my head.
You can do that when you stop. You could fix it in 14
Maybe you'd
seconds.
have to save it, then I lose 400 meters. And I was actually measuring one of these running courses for the weekend, and I'm like, I don't want to backtrack and measure it again.
One thing I learned the hard way was I turn off, so I don't have like K laps on. But then when I went to track mode, I did a session and I was running a 2K rep, and it beeped after 1600. So you actually have to go in and turn the alerts off for each setting that you're on. Because I was like, why the hell is it beeped at 1600?
Wow. So, reps turned on.
Yeah, which was annoying because it was like I got a 1600 meter time and then basically and then a 400 meter split for the last 400. Yeah.
Because pretty rare that you do track reps that long because you're just manually hitting the lap when you do 4s or 8s.
I just would have thought, I just would have thought that if you turned off alerts, that it's going to do it for everything. But you got to go into each individual. Like if you're using track mode, go and turn the alert off.
Good one, Moose. I like that. I don't think we've been there before in the last 351 episodes.
Oh, I reckon we had something like that. I reckon we had something.
I think it's just
like
been
that.
K-splits. Turn your K-splits
maybe
off.
K-splits, yeah. Well, that would drive me mad though. Like I could probably, because I used to have K-splits on. I could probably deal with that one, but like the pace and the heart rate and all of it happening at the same time. Yeah.
And it's a more aggressive beep, isn't it? Like the beep, 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 beep. Like it's an alert. Like
created some discussion, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing with those pace splits on?" He goes, "Oh, this is great. I don't have to think about anything." And I said, "Thinking is really good for you. Like, you need to think. This is like, don't just follow your watch. That's dumb. You need to be a good thinker to be a good runner. Like, you got to make decisions along the way. You got to know how your body feels.
Feel it, yeah.
Yeah, forget what the watch says, saying it's too slow or too fast. It also pissed me off because it went off saying we were too slow, and we just bloody went back and picked him up. Like, that also, like, I was more angry at the watch at that point.
Because those pace alerts would be more on, like, you know, you've got current pace, which just like fluctuates all over the shop. So if you've got pace alerts on, that's going to be like not that accurate. It's not going to be that accurate anyway.
Nah, you got to be a pretty tight, like a pretty wide range to be able to use that. And then by that stage, it doesn't matter. Like if you're that side outside your range, then you know you're running slow or fast.
Good work, boys. Good episode. Let's stop there because we've got a big week of content coming up. What's coming up in your life, Croaks? What's happening between now and Friday night? I reckon we're back on. Same show.
Track session tomorrow, and then another hilly tempo Friday. A couple of days of work. That's about it. A bit of Olympics viewing.
Yeah, a bit of skateboarding.
Yeah, men's on at the moment.
Is that what you've been looking at the last hour and 40 minutes? Seen your eyes darting a bit.
I'm looking at you boys.
Been looking at me, Moose. What's been happening for you? Well, what is happening for you? You're racing Ballarat.
Ballarat, I'll be down there. You coming down?
Run? No, I'm not. We've got our local fun run on. Run at Chukamal Hammers happening. I'm the course director for that. So I deal with the traffic management people and spray paint the roads, and the marshals are at the right spot. I get on a little Vespa, little motorbike that I borrow off a guy from work and ride the course 5 minutes before, checking that everyone's in the right spot. So the Bendigo Bats AV season with Andy Buchanan in Paris. Me not being here. I think Archie's going to Europe as well. We could be gone. We are gone, actually. I'm gone and gone.
You and Archie didn't even score last week, did you?
Yes, we did, mate. 5th and 6th. We slotted in there. Would have been 1 and 2 for Geelong too. Anyway, what are you going to run? Under 46 minutes?
What pace is that? 303s? 305s? 304s? 304s. I can't run that fast. No fucking chance I can run that fast.
What, so 46. What would 308s be? 310s? It's a bit short too, Ballarat. Under a bit short or two.
46.15. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be right for you. Take that. What sports outside of the Ath are you watching? You'd be getting into basketball, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I did watch that Boomers game. That was good. It's actually so much better to watch. It's so much better watching Olympic basketball than NBA. Like, because they actually see team plays. The team plays as a team. It doesn't play as like one bloke just going into isolation plays every single play. It's there's no superstars trying to take over. The coach won't let them. It's so much better basketball.
Okay. I did see the US highlights of sport, and it looked like Durant took over for the US. He was just hitting everything, wasn't he?
Miss. I mean,
yeah.
He's not like hogging it or anything. He just did not miss. He had 8 from 8 from the field, 5 from 5 from 3. I watched that game and I just thought no one can beat these guys.
Okay.
Can't be beat.
All right. That's it. I'll talk to both you boys Friday night. There is a question from Dale here. Will the daily show be the same time, day, night, every day? It will be at this stage. We're thinking it will be around 7:30 p.m. Most days. We do know on Friday night, though, that the 1,500 metre heats are at 7:05. So that will be a bit of a later start on Friday night. But once most of the schedule goes to Australian morning time, it means that, 7 p.m. should be a good time to record. Helps our panel members get organised and also helps the European call-ins that'll be their morning and stuff. So, keep the best place to look though is the Patreon feed, because that's where you'll get the link to the live show that will happen each and every day. Looking forward to it, boys. It's exciting. It's a new venture in the Inside Running podcast direction, and looking forward to hearing some opinions from some people that have been there many times and been in action. We're done. Thanks to all the Patreon supporters who tuned in tonight. There's some great questions here. We'll get to those in our Olympic coverage, and looking forward to doing it all again Friday night with you boys. See you later. That's episode number 352. We're done, boys. End stream.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you to this episode's sponsor, Brooks Running. Brooks create the gear that's specifically designed to take you where you feel more alive. Wherever that may be, let's run there. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.au.
But here I stand, a man who's rootsy on the stand, saying I'm